Hello everyone and welcome back to the round of 32 in the first Rakgoska Open. We've got Ignite spawning as the 5th seeded Protoss here in the upper left position on Shakura's Plateau. And his opponent, Mohrsciricle, spawning as the green Zerg in the right position here on Shakura's Plateau. And it looks like Mohrsciricle spelled it wrong. So we're going to call him Mohrsciricle because that's what he meant to say, but Mohrsciricle is more or less what he did end up spelling, which is a little bit of a blunder on his part, but alas, what's in a name? He could use the free name change and fix it if he wanted to, but he has not. I wonder if he actually knows about that, though. Like, that'd be interesting to see if he actually knows that you can do the name change and get his name to be the correct spelling, or if somebody was sneaky and took his name. Which I've noticed that there's a lot of people that have like similar names or the same name, so I wonder if that's even like if that's a possibility. So you can just have whatever name you want to, whether or not it's taken or not, it's a different story. If so, I'm going to change my name to Mork just for shits and giggles. We've got a Forge expand here coming from Ignite. He's got the Forge down, but decided to throw down the Forge first and not the Nexus. As we saw earlier with Kino DBT's game, he decided to go Nexus, then Forge, which was a very interesting combination. He did manage to stay alive, but you know, it was an interesting. I want to say that it was interesting, that's for sure. Taking a big risk. If his opponent had gone like a 6-pool or something, he would have been screwed, but he didn't. And here comes down that. Ooh, looks like he's got some shenanigans. Probe chasing the drone, and it looks like the probe is going to win the engagement. 16 hit points to 20 hit points. Drone's down to 8. Drone gets cornered. Drone gets deaded. Does have the money for a Nexus and throwing down the Nexus. There it goes. Great way to get an economic advantage over your opponent as Protoss, especially because the Zerg hasn't even expanded yet. Although I gotta say, this is very susceptible to a Baneling bust. First cannon is now being built. Will he go for a second cannon right away? Ooh, Mohrsciricle did get supply block just a little bit there. Oh, he did an extractor trick, that's why. At 19 supply. Very interesting timing to do an extractor trick, but it works. Circling speed now on the way for Mohrsciricle. Well, for some reason when I talk a lot I start yawning, which is ridiculous, but it happens. Having these two pylons in the front, though, is very susceptible to a Baneling bust. I have to say, I really hope I see some Banelings this game. I don't believe I've actually watched this replay, but if I was me and I scouted this, I would definitely be trying to go for Banelings right away. Like, as soon as possible, roll up in there, blast down these pylons, unpower all of this, and get right up into the base. Which would be so much fun to see. Expansion is now finished for Ignite. Does he have a probe transfer heading down? Yes, here comes the probe transfer, which is something you definitely want to do. Allowing those bases to mine out evenly. You get a much better econ if you do it that way. Versus as a lot of times in my games, what I do is I basically just take both Nexuses or command centers and rally to the new mineral patch. Which is a lot less, you know, it doesn't work out nearly as well as doing a transfer and keeping them rallied to the same location. You basically allow them to mine out at a more efficient pace. Versus it's doing it my way where one base gets mined out and then another base gets mined out and then another base gets mined out, and what happens is your income becomes unpredictable. Cybernetics Core is now being started for our Protoss player at around the 6-minute mark. First couple of Zealots are underway and getting those gas geysers as well. Meanwhile, over here in Zergland, we do have Queens injecting larvae. We've got hatchery now just finished and beginning to vomit larvae. No, decides not to vomit larvae down here, as that Queen does not have enough energy. Decided to lay a creep tumor and doing a drone transfer of his very own. Spore crawlers now being constructed as well in the Zerg base. I guess you really can't say constructed. Constructed's not the best word to use for that. I would have to say morphed. Because a drone decides to go from being a drone, which is a living unit, to a building. Oh, we got a third base now coming up for Mohrsciricle. So he's really trying to take an economic advantage over his opponent, who did that very first expo and deciding to go for a third base right away. Could even possibly be taking a fourth base, which would definitely be very interesting to see. 2 more gateways now on the way, as well as warp gate research being started, and this is on the current version of StarCraft, where it only takes 160 seconds to get that warp gate research in. Meanwhile, the sacrificial overlord is getting sacrificed, which unfortunately does supply block Mohrsciricle just a little bit. Gets another overlord finished and then gets stuck back at 38 supply, but decides to throw down some buildings to counteract that supply loss. More gateways now being built here. We've got 4 gateways up top, 2 gateways down below, 6 gateways up and running. So we could be seeing a 6-gate timing push here, which, if this is the new 4-gate timing, well, I mean, I guess the 4-gate timing was a little off just because of the fact that he did send in, go for Forge first. But a 6-gate pressure would definitely do some serious damage here against our Zerg player, who does not really have too much vision. Can sneak his opponent up, to his opponent through the high ground because he doesn't have the watchtower. Just has the one Zergling in front. Meanwhile, Overlord's now beginning to creep down and around. We've got lots of units coming out here as that warp gate research is just coming down to a close. Another gateway going up, so it looks like we're seeing 7 gateways here. Ooh, that's a lot of gateways. That's a huge army. Ooh, it manages to snipe another Overlord, supply blocking Mohrsciricle yet again. Hydralisk Den is on the way, as well as getting his missile attacks +1 and his roach speed. We've got Overseers being morphed in. Looks like Mohrsciricle is kind of paranoid about some kind of DT play, which would be amazingly awesome if DTs were actually a concern. Would like to see Ignite get some Blink action, and Blink does quite a bit of damage as well. And we've got the obligatory army moving out with a probe. He's going to be throwing down some pylons on his way out, just so that way he can reinforce this push. How much damage is this push going to be able to do? It depends on how ready our opponent is. He's only got 8 roaches in production, and not a really strong standing army at all. And there goes the proxy pylon. Looks like he's not even going to wait for the pylon to finish. He's pushing in right away. 1 spine crawler here for defense, as well as now those 2 roaches coming in. And definitely didn't have any sentries in his army. Forcing that out and kept those roaches away. Now retreating back to his pylon. Deciding that, he sees some Zerglings coming from the south. Realizes that there's potentially a base in the south. Twilight Council is now on the way. And he does indeed realize that there's a base down there, and now heading to push into that base, only defended by 2 units, little spine crawlers. These spine crawlers aren't getting focused down and do get taken out. The Mad Rally does get taken out, and this Nexus is definitely susceptible to death, as it is now currently down to 200 health, and it is gone. Taken out the hatchery goes down, and the rest of those probes get taken down. Does he decide to go for the larva? No, decides to back off before engaging that. Meanwhile, here we have a small force of Zerglings and Roaches, as well as 2 more Spine Crawlers morphing in. But the Spine Crawlers aren't going to be up in time, as this army does push up the ramp. Army now fully up the ramp and begins shelling away at these Roaches. Drones being forced to come off the line, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as we do have this army now doing massive amounts of damage. That 7 gateway push is doing ridiculous amounts of damage. More Stalkers being morphed in the back, and the Spine Crawler does manage to finish, but is now getting targeted down by this army. This army is now wreaking havoc on the natural, and Mohrsciricle is forced to GG out of this game. Thank you for watching this replay. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe down below. And as always, have a great day.